Hello and welcome back to Matt Hayes Tottenham Blog and to our second live stream of the day, but our first transfer roundup of the day as we reel from the news that ENIC have invested £150 million into Spurs. We have a fresh update on where that money will go. We also have news of Fraser Forster's medical at Spurs, as well as updates on Alessandro Bastoni, Ivan Perisic, Jed Spence, and so much more. Please do stick around. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button down below for more of these streams all throughout the summer, and hopefully more breaking news streams like we had earlier today, where almost 1,000 of you were watching at one point. Let's hope we hit similar numbers today. Rune, Adrian, Alexander, the Bertie Hotspur, Niall, Ryan, Ray, Damien, good to see all of you in the live chat. But let's dive straight into things with a quick recap of what happened earlier today. Tottenham put out an official statement saying Tottenham Hotspur Limited has today, Tuesday 24th May 2022, agreed a capital increase of up to £150 million from majority shareholder ENIC Sports Incorporated via the issue of convertible A shares and accompanying warrants. The equity injection increases or provides the Premier League club with greater financial flexibility and the ability to further invest on and off the pitch. Barbaric, thank you so much for subscribing. Christopher James, channel members, welcome to the live chat. Basically, what that means is Antonio Conte has £150 million extra to spend on transfers this summer. If you want more, I did a 40-minute stream on a while ago, if you do want to check that out. To give a bit more detail than what we gave a while ago, Geraint Hughes, a senior reporter for Sky Sports, was on air basically explaining what happened. So he said Tottenham are effectively converting convertible shares and making those available so they can release funds of up to £150 million. Because ENIC have a majority share of about 85% in the club, they can create these shares and effectively create the ability to raise this money. And the benefit is, first of all, there's no third party overseeing it, and they can do it without the necessary due diligence. So like I said earlier, it's effectively making this money ready to be used for transfers. So instead of having to negotiate with the two clubs and ENIC having a third party, and there's so much different things that goes on when Spurs are trying to buy players, essentially this 150 million has immediately been freed up and is ready to be pumped into transfers. And the fresh update from that, we were talking a while ago about where this money would go, because Tottenham put in their statement that this can be used for investment on and off the pitch. Matt Law has told us in the last couple of minutes that Conte will get the full £150 million should he decide to stay at Tottenham, and I think that offer in itself should be enough to convince the Italian to remain. Alistair Gold has been talking a little bit, and look, I want to mention before we get into this that there's been countless headlines and reports over the last couple of days talking about the investment into the club. I'm not going to go through those because this official news from the club trumps it all and effectively confirms what they were all saying. But Alistair Gold has said since this that Conte and Fabio Paratici will have a transfer war chest to operate with this summer. The budget this summer will include the majority of the £150 million from ENIC plus Champions League revenue, which is base minimum £37 million, plus player sales, and as Ronald mentioned in the live chat, potentially naming rights as well if Tottenham are able to secure naming sponsor for the stadium this summer. Alistair Gold goes on to say, those inside Tottenham are excited about what will come from Conte's first pre-season, and the head coach and Paratici working in tandem to improve Tottenham's squad and build on their first January transfer window together. Again, funds will be made available, and that is a very important point. Conte with pre-season, what he can achieve at this club is scary to think about, to be honest, because he's managed to get us this far without pre-season. He's got us into the Champions League, having taken over mid-season in a very busy part of the season. Pre-season will change a lot for him. Gold continues, behind the scenes, Conte has been making his views very clear to the club about what needs to be done, delivering frank words to chairman and managing director Fabio Paratici about the changes that need to be made to create a team that can compete with the elite. Paratici will appoint, or an extra thing is that Paratici will appoint his number 2 in the coming weeks. He's been overhauling the scouting department at Tottenham and other areas within the club, so effectively it looks like he's bringing in a replacement for Steve Hitchen, who left after the January window. Steve Radistar, fantastic to see you in the live chat, my friend. I hope you're keeping very well. Dykel Patrick has also said, as we know, that Conte wants most deals done before Spurs depart for South Korea at the start of July, so he wants most of these deals done within the next 5 weeks. So Levy's preferred tactic of doing business in the final weeks of the window is unlikely to fly. Now, which players will Antonio Conte be bringing in? Well, as we mentioned in the stream earlier, and to give you a little bit more detail on anyone who may have been worried about this, Dejan Kulusevski. Fabrizio Romano has said that Dejan Kulusevski will remain on loan next season. So personally, I expected, and I think a number of people expected, Tottenham to make the Dejan Kulusevski deal permanent immediately and this summer. However, Romano has said that Kulusevski will remain on loan on next season, with Spurs taking up the option to buy at a later date. So there is a clause within that deal whereby if we qualify for the Champions League next season, so if we finish top four or win the Champions League, basically if we're qualified for the Champions League for the 23-24 season in the summer of 23, that deal will be made permanent, an obligation to buy for £35 million. Should we fail to qualify for the Champions League, that will be an option, one at this point that we expect Spurs to activate because, well, Kulusevski is an incredible footballer. We do have some quotes from Decky on his time at Spurs. He said, "I really love staying here. I want to come back much, much better next year because I think this team can go much better and we have a fantastic coach. I'm looking forward to the future with this club. We have a very good team and a very good coach, very good players. I think we can improve as a team as we did these last games of the season. I think the last 15 games we did really good. We played a lot and scored a lot. There is no ceiling for us now." And he's repeated those words on Spurs TV today, saying there's no ceiling for Spurs, and there really isn't with Conte, with pre-season and with the money that could come in. A bit of a funny headline surrounding Dejan Kulusevski. And a while ago in our stream, we thanked Mikel Arteta for bottling Champions League and allowing Spurs to be in this position. And we may have another thing to thank him for, because Jack Pipbrook has reported that Arsenal were close to completing the signing of Dejan Kulusevski, but they couldn't agree a deal with Juventus. That's when Fabio Paratici came in late in the January window and managed to snatch him from the grasp of our North London rivals, who are actually from South London. But Kulusevski next summer will be made permanent. Another player in a similar position is, of course, Christian Romero. We signed him on loan from Atalanta last season with an option or obligation to buy this summer. That will be made permanent. So Tottenham, according to Fabrizio Romano, will activate the £40 million obligation to buy clause in the coming days for Christian Romero. Now, whether that's a straight up fee or to be paid in installments, I'm not quite sure. Even if it is a straight up fee, that's less than a third of the money that ENIC have made available for Spurs today. I assume there's other bits of budget to pull from as well. If it's in installments, absolutely fantastic. That'll be done. THFC Caveman, so we will be signing him next summer, basically. We're just delaying the payment that's made there, and I hope you're feeling well as well. I know you said you were sick at home. I hope you're feeling all right. So Romero will be made permanent this summer. And another player that we're hopefully going to be bringing in the coming week is this man, Fraser Forster. And Mike McGrath has reported yesterday that Fraser Forster is set to join Spurs in the coming week on a free transfer with a medical scheduled in the coming days. So for all we know, it could have happened today, but it will be happening this week. Fraser Forster's medical at Spurs. Fabrizio Romano has said that Forster has already reached full agreement with Tottenham to join them as backup goalkeeper. He's now expected to sign the contract soon as a new Spurs signing. He will replace Pierluigi Gallini, who, as we expected, is set to return to Atalanta. Romano also said that Sam Johnston has never been a serious target for Tottenham. Final report on Forster is that, according to Football Insider, he will take a pay cut in order to join Spurs. He has agreed the contract offer. So Fraser Forster looks set to be our first summer signing of 2022, the first of many. Probably not the only free one. I think we will be making a few other free signings this window, but for now, Fraser Forster looks set to become our first signing. A man who could be our second signing, and a man who I've been dreaming for the last 12 months to join Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. And today I finally accepted this is one that I think will happen. Alessandro Bastoni. Alistair Gold has said again that Antonio Conte and Fabio Paratici adore Alessandro Bastoni from Inter Milan. And with the money that has been made available today, with how much our operating board absolutely adore this man, I think we'll see Bastoni in a Spurs jersey by the end of this window. Now, it is dependent on, of course, whether Inter Milan want to keep him. Corriere della Sera in Italy, who are not the most reliable source, but it's a very important point that has been reiterated by a few outlets. Simone Inzaghi is hoping that Inter Milan will only have to sacrifice one player this summer. All signs point to that player being Alessandro Bastoni. So they could be letting only one player go, only one first team player go, and it could be this man on my right, Alessandro Bastoni. The defender could reunite with Antonio Conte at Tottenham if the manager agrees to stay. Corriere dello Sport, another questionable source, have also said that Tottenham are, quote, ready for the assault to land Alessandro Bastoni this summer. Now, we know Inter Milan were in a similar financial position last season, which ultimately is why Antonio Conte is the Spurs manager today. They ended up having to let go of Romelu Lukaku and Achraf Hakimi, but it could be getting worse for them. If they only have to sacrifice one player, it's not the end of the world, but if that man is Bastoni, Tottenham are in a fantastic position, and I cannot describe how much I would love to see that man at Spurs. I've been saying it for 12 months. A teammate who could be joining him at Spurs is Ivan Perisic. Now, Fabrizio Romano has said that Tottenham and Chelsea are waiting for Ivan Perisic's decision over a new contract at Inter Milan, and he admits that Tottenham have approached the player. So according to Gianluca Di Marzio, the current state of play with Ivan Perisic at Inter Milan is that they have offered him a new contract, but that money is not enough for Perisic, who says that Ivan Perisic's agent met yesterday with Inter Milan to discuss a new contract. Their offer was short of his demands, but still considered to be very important. The player's decision now awaits. He also has serious offers from England, which we believe to be from Spurs. Or two sources from Second Corriere della Sera say that Ivan Perisic's entourage have informed Inter Milan that they've received an important bid from abroad. And Corriere dello Sport go the opposite way and say that Ivan Perisic is actually a step away from signing a new contract with Inter Milan. So if he is going to be joining Spurs, it will be on a free transfer. His current contract with Inter Milan expires at the end of the season. Pasquale Guaro, another source that I don't know too much about, has said Inter Milan have increased their contract offer to Ivan Perisic. His decision will come over the weekend. For me, this isn't the most convincing of signings. If I had to pick a player to sign on that left side of the team, I personally wouldn't pick Perisic, but I'm going to sit here and say if Conte wants him, if Paratici wants him, he's my number one signing for the summer. And that is the state of play with me at the moment. I think if we do get him, he'll be nothing more than a player off the bench, to be perfectly honest. I don't think we'll be starting him out on that left-hand side at any point, because he's 33 years of age. He's pushing on, to be honest. And I think is a very similar player to Kulusevski. And we have a nice balance at the moment with Son on one side and Kulusevski on the other. I think if we had Perisic and Kulusevski on the pitch at the same point, I'm not sure they complement each other too well. But again, if Conte wants him, I'm more than happy to see him join Spurs. Another option up front is Gabriel Jesus, who has, of course, just won the Premier League with Manchester City. And that is the wrong photo. There we go. Mike McGrath, who's been very busy with Spurs news over the last couple of weeks, has said that Tottenham are poised to compete with Arsenal for the signing of Gabriel Jesus from Man City. The player's agent, Marcelo Pettinati, is aware of interest from Spurs. Now, I'm going to be a bit hypocritical here because I hate Arsenal and I love Tottenham. I was kind of happy for Gabriel Jesus to move to Arsenal. But also, it's not hypocritical because Arsenal need a first-team striker. They let Aubameyang go in January and they didn't replace him. They need a striker who'll come in and score 15, 20, 25 goals for them a season. I think if they got that in January, they would be in the Champions League and we'd be slumming it on a Thursday like they are. So for them, I don't think Jesus will ever be that man. He made 28 appearances in the league this season, scored 8 and assisted 8. If you're signing him as a first-team striker, he's not good enough. But for Tottenham, if you're signing him as a backup striker to Harry Kane or as a rotation option, and one to play in the Champions League where he's done quite well with Man City, or play in the cup games, then he's a brilliant signing. And that may sound hypocritical, and I'm perfectly fine if it does, because I want to praise Tottenham and abuse Arsenal, of course I do. But 8 goals and 8 assists in, I think it was 21 starts and 7 sub appearances for a backup striker at Spurs is not bad. And if we can convince him to come, I think for any player that will be playing second fiddle to Harry Kane, I think he's probably up there at the top in terms of the calibre of player that we could attract for that position. Now, given the fact that it will be back up to Harry Kane, it's very possible that he could choose Arsenal over Tottenham. But with Champions League football, with Antonio Conte, with the potential of playing with Harry Kane, that could be enough to convince him to join Spurs. A few other reports. Matt Law has said that Tottenham are interested in both Manchester City attackers, so Gabriel Jesus, agreeing with his colleague Mike McGrath, but also reiterating that Tottenham are interested in Raheem Sterling. We're not too sure at the moment how true that is. Ekram Koner, unreliable source, but he's mentioned it as well, say Tottenham want to sign Gabriel Jesus this summer. On Jed Spence and our pursuit of a right back, which I again assume would lead to the departure of one of Emerson Royale or Matt Doherty, Alistair Gold has said that even if Nottingham Forest get promoted, I believe Tottenham will make a move for Jed Spence. They are also interested in Brennan Johnson. So those two names have been mentioned repeatedly for Tottenham and our upcoming transfer window. But even if Forest win that playoff final against Huddersfield this weekend, Alistair Gold believes Tottenham will make that move for Jed Spence. And I know a lot of fans will be happy to hear that. Football Insider, who I only value when it comes to EFL, I think anything outside of that, they're not great. But for EFL, they're usually spot on. They say Tottenham have opened preliminary talks to sign wingback Jed Spence. A few other bits in terms of incomings. Sky Sports have said that Tottenham recently rejected the chance to sign one talented Premier League player because their research highlighted concerns he could be a disruptive influence. And I mentioned this in terms of the difference in recruitment between Conte/Paratici and Mauricio Pochettino. I even said it on the stream earlier today before I'd actually seen this report. The Pochettino seemed to buy players based on ability and ability alone, like your whole FIFA career mode way of signing a player. But Paratici and Conte look at more than that. They look at mentality. They look at adaptability. They look at everything. And I think this only proves that they saw this player could be a disruptive influence and said, no, we don't want you. Sky Sports have gone on to say that Tottenham will target a goalkeeper, centre-back, wing-back, centre midfielder and a striker this summer. And speaking of Sky Sports, I actually recorded a video earlier today with Michael Bridge from Sky Sports. I'm going to play a couple of clips, so I'll actually play the first one now. This is me and Michael Bridge talking about the goalkeeper situation at Spurs. Yeah. We're getting these lines, well, the Tottenham are going to kind of like steer away from their usual process of bringing in young players who can build for the future and bringing in players who are ready for now. And I think the best thing about Conte is he's not the biggest spender in the world. You know, even some of the targets we've heard right now, Fraser Forster on a free, I think is a brilliant signing. He's an exceptional goalkeeper.
I do. It's funny actually, that one. So was trying to firm up Sam Johnson the other week and it went quiet. And then I spoke to someone saying he thinks that he's going to be a number one somewhere else, which would make sense because if you look at it next season, we're back in the Champions League. So Hugo Lloris, barring injury, is going to play every league game and every Champions League game. So Tottenham next season only really needed a number two who's happy to be a number two. Now, for me, I think Fraser Forster ticks that box. English, so he knows the league. It's funny as well. Talk about Galini. I can't remember who told me this, but might have been a player. He is the most popular player in the dressing room. But that doesn't really matter on the pitch, does it? So, and I think it was his Spotify that he was playing Champions League music at Carrow Road. It was at Instagram. It was his speaker. So he's well into Tottenham, and the players love him. But would you want him playing Bayern Munich if Lloris has hurt himself? No. Do I want Fraser Forster? Well, yeah, okay, yeah. He's played in Champions League nights. Yeah, you know what this is all about. And what an honour for Fraser Forster at his age to join Tottenham Hotspur. I think it makes sense. It ticks all the boxes. And as I've said, Matt, I think there are fans sometimes who look at Lloris's errors and completely forget some saves he makes are unsavable. He's come third to Edison and Alisson again in the goalkeeper stats. And I think Tottenham have got a real job on their hands to try and find someone to replace him. But the Forster situation just gives Tottenham another year of looking around and getting the right decision, because the alternatives I'm hearing and English goalkeepers, and I just don't think they lay a glove on Lloris, but that's just my personal opinion. I think, well, we all know buying the best goalkeeper is really hard. So it's a sensible signing. If it happens, it sounds like it will happen.
So again, Michael Bridges' colleagues at Sky Sports saying that Tottenham will target a goalkeeper, centre-back, wing-back, centre midfielder and striker this summer. Paul O'Keefe has said that Tottenham may look to sign a pacey, aggressive winger. And look, if Barcelona aren't bringing up that buy option for Adama Traore, I expect those rumours to be back this window. And finally, Telegraph say that Alessandro Bastoni, Gleison Bremer, Jed Spence, Calvin Phillips, James Ward-Prowse, Christian Eriksen and Gabriel Jesus are all Tottenham targets. And that's it in terms of incomings. With outgoings, Alistair Gold has said again that he expects Steven Bergwijn and Harry Winks to leave this summer. On Giovanni Lo Celso, Alistair Gold has said that Villarreal and Real Betis are two of the teams after Giovanni Lo Celso. And talking about the funds as we have for so long today, it seems as though a big way for Tottenham to potentially regenerate 50, 60, 70 million pounds to spend on more transfers. Tanguy Ndombele and Giovanni Lo Celso are two players that we could look to move on and get some big fees. And that's another one I spoke to Michael Bridge about earlier today. Lo
Celso and Ndombele. Let's go back to Daniel Levy here, who's received a lot of criticism over the years, and some with justification. There's a couple of transfer lines I remember going forward, and then it's not happened for one reason or another. Negotiations have changed and deals have gone. So, he does deserve criticism, but let's also give him some credit, because Daniel Levy back in the day wanted big fees for players who were surplus to requirements. Ndombele was a very expensive signing for Tottenham Hotspur, and he went on in terms of big players, cheapish loan to Lyon. They've got a problem with Ndombele because I can't see Lyon signing him permanently. Giovanni Lo Celso, the issue is, again, Villarreal are a small town club, but punching above their weight seems sort of every year. They'd have to sell to buy again. I know Arnaut Danjuma might be looking elsewhere this summer, who's a phenomenal talent. They might be able to raise some money there. But again, they're going to probably have to have a loss on the Celso. But Levy's backing Conte in the sense that Conte said, I can't take these guys on my journey. I don't trust them. I know they're good footballers, but they're not good Tottenham footballers. And I think that's the difference. Ndombele's career ended at Tottenham after Morecambe, I think. Unless there's huge turnaround in, is attitude the right word? I don't know, but application maybe to come in on June the 27th and say, I'm sorry, I'm ready. I just can't see it. And the Celso, I think, will look elsewhere. So there's two players, but where Ndombele goes next season, I don't know. It might have to be another loan.
That full stream at Michael Bridge will be uploaded at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. We had a season review and a transfer window preview for channel members. I'll put that out for you guys at 12 p.m, but you'll have to wait till 7 if you're not a channel member. Jaffa Tanganga's agent has been speaking. He said, given how much he played at the start of the season, it is not guaranteed he will leave this summer. I wouldn't be surprised to see Conte bring him back into starting contention. He will certainly start pre-season with Tottenham. One centre-back who probably won't start pre-season with Tottenham is Cameron Carter-Vickers. According to Record Sport, CCV has agreed personal terms with Celtic, and the Hoops now have 3 weeks to conclude a £6 million deal with Spurs before other clubs can make their move. Ekram Koner as well has said that Celtic are set to sign Carter-Vickers permanently for £6 million. Some reports from lesser or unknown reliability sources, Sport 5 in Israel, have said that Tottenham Hotspur are interested in signing Manor Solomon. Shakhtar Donetsk want £6 million for him. The Daily Mail say Tottenham are monitoring developments over Chilar Soyuncu's future, the Leicester City centre-back, who was awful when we beat them both times. Gazzetta dello Sport say that sporting director Fabio Paratici is planning to launch an offensive for Eintracht Frankfurt left wing-back Filip Kostic. Antonio Conte is extremely keen to sign him. Tribuna Deportivo say that Valencia has met with Tottenham to extend Brian Hill's loan for one more season, and Hector Gomez has also said that Valencia will meet with Spurs to extend the loan spell. Darren Lewis of the Daily Mirror, about 20 minutes before we went live, said, first of all, that Tottenham see Burnley star Maxwell Cornet as an option. He has a £15 million release clause in his contract, which became active once the club were relegated. He also says that Tottenham are interested in £12 million rated left wing-back Filip Kostic. The 29-year-old has just a year left on his contract, and both Conte and Paratici are keen to invest in his consistency. A few other stories before we wrap up. Charlie Eccleshare has said that Tottenham defender Christian Romero is expected back in full training with Argentina later today after recovering from the hip injury that kept him out of Tottenham's final 3 games of the Premier League season. One that's a bit of a joke, and I spoke about with Michael Bridge, that Eric Dyer has not been selected in the latest England squad. Absolute calamity, in my opinion. Another official piece is that Tottenham will face Sevilla at the Suwon World Cup Stadium on Saturday, July 16th, 8 p.m. kickoff local time in the second match of the summer tour of South Korea. So we'll be facing Eric Lamela in that one. Samuel Mokbel, speaking on Sun, has said there is genuine concern at Tottenham between 2017 and 2018 that they could lose Son to Manchester City, but Levy stopped any advancements. Son has been quoted as saying, since the conclusion of the season, Spurs is my home, and we're damn lucky to have him. Brentford have released a statement on Christian Eriksen, and they've said it is no secret that we would love Christian to remain at Brentford for more seasons, and we will continue to discuss that possibility with him and his representatives. So that is all we have for the stories. I'm going to jump on Twitter for anyone who follows me on there. If you want to get your questions in for these streams, just tweet me #AskMattHayes, and I'll go through those at the end of this. We have an update from Fabrizio Romano, who has said, no answer yet from Perisic. New deal on the table from Inter Milan, but Tottenham and Chelsea are interested. So as we were with that one with Ivan Perisic. Ryan Little Big Man, channel mod, channel friend, says, now with the investment being made into improvements for the squad, what are your top 3 signings? Alessandro Bastoni. I know all 500 of you, 467 of you in the chat probably know that. Mentioned there in the chat, Tony Young mentioned some Cucurella. To be honest, I would love Cucurella. He's been absolutely incredible for Brighton this season, and I'm not going to say I'd want him over Philip Kostic, but he offers things that Kostic doesn't, and the main one is Premier League experience. So I go Bastoni, Cucurella, and I'm going to go Christian Eriksen. I know I've said a lot that I don't think he fits into Spurs at the moment from a tactical and footballing standpoint, but I'd love to see him back in a Spurs jersey, and for that reason, I'd have to go with him on that one as well. Scutley says, since Roden leaving, could we see Sanchez or Tanganga leave too and bring in 2 centre backs? My choice would be Bastoni and Nacho Fernandez, just because he has experience and he is free. Well, look, as we said there with Tanganga, it's not set in stone. His agent thinks he'll be starting pre-season with Spurs. Sanchez, I think, has earned his stay at Tottenham as a backup option. I don't know if he'll be happy with that, but at the moment, I'm not expecting to see Davinson Sanchez move on this summer. Sanjay says, what's the immediate / long-term difference financially between 4th and 5th position? So look, prize money obviously is a big one. I'm not sure exactly what it is in the Premier League. I doubt it's too much, because it doesn't go from if you're in the Champions League or Europa League, it goes by position, and the jump in one position isn't too much. I know financially being in the Champions League is worth £37 million just for qualifying for the group stage, and depending where you get to, you can make over £100 million. So the year we got to the Champions League final, we made over £100 million, which is then wasted in the market immediately after. The £150 million investment from ENIC, I think, is there because we've qualified for the Champions League. I don't think that would have happened in the Europa League. So the immediate is massive, and also naming rights with the stadium, it's a massive benefit for Spurs. MCST, good to see you. AMNZ1 says, Pau Torres thoughts. Brilliant option. Showed his composure, his ball playing ability, and his defensive acumen against Liverpool in the Champions League. Yes, there were some worries there, but it was his first time playing against a team of that physicality and of the pace of the Premier League. So of course he looked a bit out of his depth at times, but he's a fantastic option and probably my number 2 to Alessandro Bastoni. Matthias says, why did we switch focus from Johnston to Forster? Won't it just mean that we will need to find a new first and second keeper again next season, or do we think Forster will get 2 years in the deal? Still, no way he could be a first choice after Lloris. So as I said a month and a half ago, well, everyone was jumping the gun and saying Johnston will sign. It's set in stone. He's going to be a Spurs player. As far as I was aware at that time, that was completely premature. It was never at that point. There was, of course, contact between Tottenham and Johnston. Johnston wanted the move, but as a second choice option, if he got a first choice call from somewhere else, he was going to take that, and that seems to be what he has done. And I think that's why Tottenham turned their attention to Forster. It could also be a situation where he was never our number 1 option. Fabrizio Romano said that he was never a serious option. It could just be the way Prachi works, using that as a smokescreen to get that deal done for Fraser Forster, which, if it was what he planned, has worked absolutely brilliantly. Swizzle says, who's the next most likely signed transfer after Forster? Look, it could be Jed Spence. To be honest, I mean, we don't seem to be in a rush with any other specific targets, but Jed Spence is a name that keeps cropping up, and as was mentioned in the chat there, Paul O'Keefe said it'll happen, barring a disaster. So he could be the next one there. We have Zeus, the absolute legend, says, out of all the strikers we're interested in, who's your pick? Don Matty. I love that name. It's the second time today I've been called that. Look, at the names that are there at the moment, there are none that are absolutely realistic or ones that I can genuinely see happening, other than Gabriel Jesus, which seems to be more than just interest there. And like I said, as a backup option, 8 goals, 8 assists, has 1 trophies, Champions League experience. He could cost a bit, but it could be a bit of money that's worth it. So at the moment, I would go with Gabi Jesus, but that could change. It could change. William says, would you try offering Lo Celso and money to try and get Pau Torres? Would you sell Reguilon? And if so, who would you like to replace him? I think if we can't get Bastoni, or if we absolutely have to offload Giovanni Lo Celso, there's no other way, I think the best thing to do with him would be offer him for Pau Torres. 100%. It's a brilliant recommendation. And at the moment, I do think Reguilon needs to go, and Kostic or Cucurella to replace him for me. Ellis, absolute legend as well, says, if we were to sign only 6 players, not including Forster, who would you sign given a £200 million budget? I probably should have researched this one before I started. Bastoni, first of all, let's say that's £60 million. Christian Eriksen, free. We need a right back. We go Jed Spence. I don't know how much that will be. Let's balance it out at 15 million. So we 75 million then. Gabriel Jesus, we go with the value on transfer market for him, which is 45 million. So that would bring us up to 130 million. So we have 2 players left for 70 million. Centre midfield, we go James Ward-Prowse for let's go 50 million, and with 20 million left over, do you want, let's go Perisic. We'll get him for free as well, and then give Antonio Conte a bonus of 20 million pounds. I think he'd enjoy that. He'd appreciate that. So those are all our questions from, or sorry, we've one as well from, no, sorry, that's it. So that's all our questions from Twitter. Thanks to everyone who got those in. I have an opportunity for everyone watching, for the 478 that are still here. These prints are done by a friend of the channel, CastAway. He's an Arsenal fan, so he probably deserves a little bit of support, a little bit of help at this point. I have a link in the description to where you can go and buy these prints, just £8 each. They're absolutely incredible. If you have interest in other clubs, or if you want them as a gift for a fan of another club, there's plenty available on there. So if you go down to the description where it says CastAway Prints, it'll bring you straight to the shop on Etsy. And these prints available for just £8, which is an absolute steal for anybody that does want them. And one final thing that we're going to do, with 485 people watching, anyone who followed the channel last summer will know that we at every opportunity tried to help out fellow Tottenham YouTubers. So I'm going to drop a link into the chat, which is for Josh, another Spurs YouTuber who is streaming about transfers at the moment. So I want you to head over there. The first thing you got to say is Matt Hayes sent me, and the second thing you got to do is subscribe to the channel. We got to help every Spurs content creator when we can. So I'm going to absolutely spam the link in there now. Make sure to head over. Matt Hayes sent me. Subscribe while you're there. Like it while you're there. I think he's on 191 subscribers. Let's get him to 200. I want to see the numbers in this stream drop to 0. Go over and show Josh the support he deserves. Got a brilliant panel on there as well. Shan from the Cheese Room podcast, who you've seen on this channel before, is there as well. So make sure to head over there and show every bit of support that you possibly can. It is massively deserved. Do hit the like and subscribe button on your way out from here as well, though. let's share the love around as much as we can. But look, that's it from me for now. I will be on the Irish Hotspur at 8:30 p.m. tonight, so an hour from now, with David and Sean Butler. I'm sure we'll be chatting transfers there as well. But from this side of things, from transfers for now, it's been an incredible day. There's been incredible support on the channel. We've gained close to 200 subscribers today, which is incredible. We've surpassed 13k and much more. So the next goal is 14k. So please, the 433 of you that are still here, hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button, and head over to Josh's channel to show him the support that he deserves. But from me, for now, as always, thank you so much for watching.